The journey of a white belt is challenging, but also very rewarding and fulfilling if you go about it correctly. So today we're going to cover 5 pieces of advice that allows you to get the most out of your white belt journey. Let's jump in. Number 1, focus on learning rather than winning. Remember, you're a white belt, which means you're a beginner, which means you're not supposed to be good at this right away. That's the whole journey of a white belt. I see a lot of new white belts come to the gym and they get frustrated when they get submitted or when they're not actually grasping a concept with a certain technique or submission. If you can understand and accept that that is part of the white belt journey, it is common, everyone goes through it, and allows you to build lessons on top of that, you're going to be a lot better off. If you're constantly focused on winning, you're kind of putting yourself in a stressful situation because that's just not going to be a sustainable way to approach jiu-jitsu. You go to class or you go to sparring and you get submitted by an upper belt or even someone of the same rank, that can make for a stressful ride home. Quit being so focused on winning. Rather, what did you do wrong in that position? What can you take from that? Jiu-jitsu is all about learning and the lessons that you can build on top of the experiences that you're getting. The sooner that you can take lessons from your mistakes rather than being upset about it, the faster you're going to learn and the better you're going to be. And when I started 6.5 years ago as a white belt, even with a wrestling background, I knew very little about jiu-jitsu. I didn't understand the objectives of every position. I didn't know any submissions, and I had no idea how to get myself out of submissions. And while yes, this can be frustrating, if you learn to take these as lessons, these are little golden nuggets for you to learn from, you're going to be in a much better place. Remember, you're a beginner. You're not supposed to be good at this yet. Go easy on yourself. Learn from your mistakes and move forward. The second piece of advice would be to train outside of class. Now, luckily for me, my school offers 2 classes a day on some days, which is great if you want to get extra training in. But at white belt, I'm guessing you aren't training full time. So if you have a buddy you can train with outside of class, that's only going to help you. Now, luckily for me, I have my brother and he has some mats in his basement. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't have anybody that has mats. You don't really need mats. I mean, sometimes me and my brother go to the beach and we train there just to switch up the venue. You can go to a park, train in the grass. You don't have to be beating each other up. You can work through techniques, work through drills, practice submissions that you just learned that you're having a hard time with. But meeting up with that training partner outside of class is going to do a lot for your game. And in fact, as a white belt, I don't recommend you killing yourself all the time to try to get better. You can have lighter training sessions where you're working on moves, or you're working on drills, you're working on transitions, instead of just hardcore sparring all the time. My next piece of advice, don't get upset when you get submitted. Again, focusing on learning rather than winning. When someone submits you, it's showing you holes in your game. That's a gift or even a compass, showing you exactly what direction you need to take your training, showing you exactly what transitions you need to clean up, what techniques you need to tighten up, what submissions you need to work on, what positions you need to work on getting out of. So remember, don't get upset if you get tapped. It's a part of the journey. We all go through it. Even black belts get tapped. Nothing looks worse than a white belt slamming his hands on the mats or screaming out loud after he gets tapped because he's frustrated. Listen, we all get it. We know getting tapped is frustrating, but it's a part of the journey. So learn from it. Don't let it upset you. Getting submitted makes you better. And that transitions nicely into the next tip. Instead of focusing on how many times you can tap other people, focus on how many times you can avoid getting tapped by upper belts. And as a white belt, you shouldn't be worried about submitting other people. That comes later in time. You want to focus on understanding every position, understanding defensive movements, and how to get out of bad positions. So a great way to track your progress once you are sparring, say with an upper belt, is to focus on getting submitted less and less. Let's just say 2 days ago you faced an upper belt and he submitted you 7 times in 1 round. Well, next time you face him, you can focus on only getting submitted 6 times. And then after that, you can focus on getting submitted 5 times, then 4 times, then 3 times. And then eventually you can get down to the point where you aren't getting submitted by this guy at all. And that is, without a question, progress. And once you have your defensive game tightened up, you'll start to notice opportunities for submissions. Now, you might not be able to take action on that opportunity right away, but as long as you're recognizing it, that's progress as well. Again, as a white belt, you shouldn't be focused on submissions, but once you start noticing those opportunities, you also know that's progress. So get it out of your mind that you need to submit everybody. Focus on your defensive game and you can build on top of that. My final piece of advice would be to learn to have fun with jiu-jitsu. The earlier you can learn to have fun with this, the better you're going to do. This is something that I wish I would have worked on as a white belt. I don't think this is something that you can perfect as a white belt, but it's definitely something you can work on as a white belt. I didn't start really having fun with jiu-jitsu until late blue, early purple. Now, I'm not saying that all white belts don't enjoy jiu-jitsu, but I know from personal experience and from seeing others go through this, that the journey of a white belt can be stressful. You're in unknown territory, you don't know what to do, and people who are smaller than you are beating up on you. So I think it's a normal reaction for white belts to be kind of spazzy and hold their breath when they're in the middle of a big movement and really trying way too hard to power through certain movements rather than focusing on technique. Now, I'm not saying that as a white belt you're not going to enjoy jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu is enjoyable. But the sooner you can learn to have fun with it and be playful with it, I think the sooner you get to control those emotions that make you spazzy. I remember when I was a white belt, my coach would frequently have me roll with an upper belt woman with the objective that I would not be using strength, but rather technique. And after I was done rolling with her, he would ask, hey, did he use a lot of power or was he focusing on using technique? And this opened my eyes because it made me realize that I was constantly flooring the gas pedal. I was constantly pushing 100% all of the time, which is not really effective. That's actually a great way to gas out early on in the match or the fight. I think it's important to use your power only when you need it. It's like a light switch that you turn on and off. And the earlier you can learn to utilize that, the better you're gonna be. Instinctually, especially as a brand new white belt, we're gonna do a lot of things wrong. And using all of your power all the time is one of those things. So the earlier that you can slow down, breathe, have fun, and be playful with it, the better you're gonna be. Remember, you're at a training facility and no one is going to kill you. So the earlier you can learn to not be a spazzy white belt, to breathe correctly, to have fun and be playful in your movements, the better you're going to be, and the more you'll get to enjoy your progress along the way. And those are my 5 tips for you white belts just starting off. I know it can be stressful, I know it can be hectic, and I know it can be confusing, but trust me, you get better along the way, and the earlier you can implement some of these tips, the better you're gonna be. Jiu-jitsu is a complicated art, and there's many, many layers to it. So don't put too much pressure on yourself, just try to learn as much as you can. The longer you do it, the more it's going to make sense, I promise you that. If you've had similar experiences, comment down below. If you've had different experiences, comment down below. Everyone's journey is gonna be a little bit different. I'm speaking through my perspective and what I've seen. You guys could have had much different experiences, so I wanna hear about it all. We all can learn from each other in the comments section, so comment down below, let me know what you think. And in the meantime, eat plants, train hard, and feel good. I'll see you in the next one.